You're on.
Good morning. Friday, November 5th. This is Tuftonboro Board of Selectmen's work session. And we're primarily going to be working on budgets today. So let's start with
Is Chris coming in? Or is he just sent us?
He sent the request.
So I know he was working on, yeah, his budget is not on the list today. So he was working with.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
4324.
Yeah, it looks like he's coming in for 10 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, good. So why don't we start with, conservation's coming in. Let's start with planning and zoning. So the request is for 38,435, which is a big,
Yeah, big jump.
big jump.
10,208 of it is the secretary's
Right.
pay.
Right?
Got another big jump in postage, but you've overspent that line this year.
Yeah,
So that's,
yeah.
so that's 11,400. And then 500 on the ZBA secretary.
Yeah.
Did that change?
What's that, ZBA secretary?
Yeah.
No. So what she does, as I remember, is she charges us a fixed amount per meeting, and she collects it in December for the whole year.
Is that Jackie?
Yeah. So if you look at her, at where it is, that's why it goes all over the place. So
But it's never been over $1,000.
it is not, and so I don't know why it's up there. So that's a question. The other thing, with respect to the administrative assistant, I know we have a change in personnel, an hourly rate, and this is based upon 15 hours a week, which is more than I think is actually
Budgeted for.
well, it's more than historically we've used.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that begs the question of, do we want to budget for a full that amount, or do we want to crank some windage in and recognize that if it
We've got non-public here, I think.
before we deal with that, yeah, I think we do. So before we do that, can you grab Jackie?
Yes.
We got a question on ZBA secretary.
And the postage is up by $1,200, but as I said, we overspent.
Yeah, well overspent.
But your advertising remained the same, which seems odd, because Windows 10.
So that postage may include money spent sending stuff out on the master plan review. I don't know that, in which case that's it. So our question is, ZBA secretary, this year's budget's $1,000. Next year, we put in for 1,500.
And you never
Is
spent
it-
1,000.
Well, I will this year, be over,
Okay?
Why?
because we've had the GD meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Alright.
you're over this year already?
So what do you think it'd be this year? Just a guess.
Well, according to Jack, we've got at least 2 more hearings.
Right.
and I usually charge $50 a hearing,
Okay?
which is for before, during, and after.
Right.
So that's another $100.
All right, so, but you just collected at the end of the year, right?
Yeah,
So that's my question. How much is it gonna be this year, do you guess, total, for you?
well, right now it's at 1,000, so another 100
Okay,
anyway,
all right.
from what Jack tells me.
That's the piece I didn't know, is how much
Yeah.
you're already 1,000 into
Right,
it. Okay,
right.
Cool.
Okay.
so,
And
And everything else is over already.
yeah,
for budgeting purposes, would it be hard to ask you to do this quarterly as opposed to annually?
What, get paid?
I don't care if you get paid, but just so we've got some kind of posting so we can track it as we're going along. You know, right now.
So I'll count, okay.
You know,
So what I
so-
did the other day, I went in, I counted all the hearings we've had so far this year, and
Right.
it's 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
Yeah.
just,
it's not,
if
it's
there
not a
was,
problem.
well,
Oh.
on the other hand, it's always been a pretty small amount, and
Yeah.
so just, I guess as long as we know how much you've done, then we can go from there. So postage is way up this year, and I
Yeah.
don't know, part of that is you, probably.
Part of that's because of the hearings.
Right,
We've had so many.
right,
Usually we have like 14 maybe. I think one year we had 17. Postage has gone up every year.
Right.
So, that's based mostly an in and out, because part of the fees that they pay up front for a hearing
Right.
is $120 plus $5 per abutter.
mhm,
That $5 should cover the
Right.
mailing, 120 should cover the
Right.
newspaper
Right.
twice. It hasn't always covered it this year because newspapers trying to fill space, so they put in a big ad when we don't want them to put in a big ad.
and bill you for a big
And
ad.
bill me for a big
Yeah.
ad. And I've said to them more than once, I shouldn't have to be filling your paper.
Yeah,
so advertising is flat. I mean, we budgeted 1,100 and they're asking for 1,100, but you spent 1,257 so far. So is 1,100 the wrong number, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, what did I put in for next year? Are you sure that's mine?
Well, this is the whole planning and zoning.
Oh, well,
Right.
I don't think that's,
so
ZBA.
does your advertising go into the advertising line, or does it go into one of the ZBA lines?
it would go into a ZBA line, I would think.
There's
All
no
right.
ZBA advertising.
Oh.
So you
Well,
got
I don't know
ZBA
if-
public notices, so maybe
Public notices, that's what it is.
that's,
so
that's what it is. It was-
um, So maybe they, this is election supplies, postage, secretary. Yeah, public notices.
Okay,
What was the one you asked me?
I was up here, but you're, okay, so public
So
notice
it's
is your,
ZBA only, and the other is, advertising is not ZBA.
so public notice is, you're at,
Right,
so you're $200, okay, I got it,
yeah.
Yeah,
fine. All right,
Okay.
yep. No,
Alright.
no, I'm going
Okay.
to Bill, thanks.
all right, thank you.
Yeah,
All right. So we've got everything done except for the top line.
Yep,
Do you want to wait till the end to do that?
I think so. Yeah, let's put that aside and move on to conservation. Gentlemen, come on up to the table.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. All right, so this year, your budget is for 19,100, And your request for next year is 18,800.
Correct.
So you're, as I quickly look through here, we'll just kind of go on down through.
Okay.
Water monitoring.
Yep.
You budgeted 3,000 this year, you spent nothing.
Because the bill doesn't come in until December.
Okay.
After the season.
All right, so, and, so last year was 1,740, the year before was 2,800, it's kind of all over. So you expect it's going to be around 3,000?
Right around there, probably, it's hard to say until he sends us the bill, but depending on how many samples and how many tests he does, it varies, so.
Okay.
Some of the activity on Mirror Lake went down, and we've got some new samples in 19 Mile Bay, so it's hard to say how it's going to come out.
Mhm.
And we did some extra sampling in Winter Harbor.
But the 3,000 you feel is a good number?
Yeah.
So, I mean, from my perspective, if you go over a little bit, it's not terrible. But, if you double what your budget is, then we gotta make sure we get money someplace else, so. All right. Publications and conferences, you're flat there, and it's way off this year.
Yeah, that's
That's
because
because of the zooming.
Yeah, so a lot of the conferences that we usually go to, the Watershed Conference and the Water Supply Conference and the NHACC Conference were all either canceled or moved to Zoom, so
Mhm.
we didn't do a lot there, but hopefully next year they'll be back on to in-person meetings.
Mhm. All right.
Postage and supplies,
Yeah.
51 cents.
I'm sorry?
Postage and supplies.
So,
Just funny.
yeah, I don't know what the 51 cents is, I laughed when I
That's-
saw that
that's-
too, somebody bought a stamp.
I was gonna say, that's like one.
It's one stamp.
first class stamp.
It was there, so I don't know what to say about that. So I am about to order some signs to put up, and I think that'll eat up some of that budget.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes, I look back over the last 5 years, it's run between $230 and $716, so.
I don't think we'll hit $716, so I'm thinking the signs that I want to order are not going to be over 300, so.
Administrative assistant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've adjusted that down considerably, and that's based upon experience, is that right?
Experience in talking to Jane,
Yeah.
finding out how many hours that she actually works during the week, and, asked her if she wanted to put any more hours in. She said no. Between the budget committee and conservation, she's pretty happy, so she's not looking to increase her hours. So, I talked to Diane and Kathy, and she gave me the rate sheet, so based upon that, I calculated what it would be for next year.
Yeah, I think you're gonna, I'm looking at historically, it's ranged from 2,600 up to 6,500. And it's never been below 2,600. So I'm wondering if, I have a problem with 2,700, but I think you might find yourself running over, and I wanna make sure you understand that you get the job done. It doesn't matter if you have to run over.
Honestly, so first time doing this, I have no idea, so, I did sit down, and she says it takes about 12 hours a month, what she's doing for
Yeah.
Conservation Commission, and again, I asked her if she wanted to do any other thing, because, we could enroll her in a grant writing course or something like that, and she said no, she wasn't interested, so I don't know how else to do it, Chip.
Well, if you're comfortable with it, that's fine. And again, as Chip said, if it takes more than that to get the job done, then it's important that it get charged in there and that we do it. And
And next year we'll just.
and next year, it'll just adjust. I know she's a different player than we had in there for a long time. And,
I think by comparison, she's a lot more efficient. She doesn't.
well, that's what the,
She doesn't.
that's what the dollars would suggest when you look at how much has been expended in there. over the years. Yeah,
Depending on personality, you can put a lot into minutes,
yeah,
and he puts the essentials in there, but not too much. But whereas our minutes were probably 3 times longer in content prior.
yeah.
And then also,
Some minute writers sort of feel they need to be the proceedings of the meeting rather than reflect the business that was done. And there's some that do it like the congressional record that you can put everywhere.
You do every word in there, yeah.
So,
She's very good. I mean, when she took the job, she went in and she took a course on writing minutes, and
great.
so she's pretty efficient.
we did a lot of work on the town plan
Yeah,
back in
Yes.
those days.
right.
Back in Leanne's days. Somewhere out there's a lot of pages of stuff we produced for that.
Yep. Yep. All right, acquisition and monitoring. So you've spent $825 this year out of $5,500. So are you gonna expend that budget, or is it just,
Yeah, so we just got another bill in from Rick Vanderpool about that, so that's about another 1,000. And he's also working on another piece of land adjacent to Great Meadows for another 40 acres that we're looking at, that he's gonna be writing some grants on. So I think what will end up happening is we'll probably have to roll over some of that into next year, so that we can cover what he's working on now on this other lot.
and you understand that for us to encumber that money, we need to have a contract in hand?
Yes.
Okay, we need to have, not we're planning to do this, but this is what we're working on, and it just hasn't finished, and then we can encumber those funds. Yeah. All right, 19 Mile Brook study.
I don't really know about this one, and I asked Steve, because we have FE Environmental working on that in the next couple of years, and Steve explained that this is more of a contingency in case we have to do something out at 19 Mile Brook, that we have some money in there to do it.
We've had that $1,500 in there as long as I've been on a commission.
Yeah, I'm just asking. And
Well,
when we go back,
in 2019, you spent $4,895, so
Yeah.
Right.
15 wouldn't cover that.
right, but we spent nothing in 2017, 2018, or 2020, so.
That expenditure was planned, but this has always been a contingency,
Right,
and I think we were thinking, just ask you guys, do you want us to keep that contingency? You know, it'd be in case something comes up and we need to get some analysis done, or, you know, bring in a contractor. or
So
something like
Wolfboro is
that.
doing 100% of the analysis currently,
You're
Well-
paying for it.
Yes, yeah, paying for it.
all the way to the bay,
We're supervising a contractor, they're paying for it.
all the way to the bay.
Yep, I
Okay.
think so, right to the bay, right?
Yes,
Yep, they have one at the end,
Well-
right at it.
you know, I don't think we have one down at the entrance.
No,
It's about a quarter mile down from 109A.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not monitoring down by 19 Mile Bay.
No,
And is that something that makes sense to do?
I've always wanted to get a volunteer doing that, but it doesn't work too good for looking at the RID, because there's so much dilution that comes in after that. Probably 5/8 to 3/4 of the water that comes out into 19 Mile Bay comes from somewhere else other than the RIV area.
But I guess another way to look at it, from my perspective, is we're gathering data up by the RAB, right? And if we monitor down by the bay, then we've got some good data going into that long stretch, and we gather some down the other end. Maybe it better completes the whole picture.
Right, I mean, you have to, you can't think of it strictly in a scientific way. You have to look at it as social impact. There's no social impact of any consequence up by 109A. There's a significant social impact down at 19 Mile Bay Beach. So we need to make sure that's mitigated, or
You're
isn't
sampling
there?
in the bay, but we don't have it in the outlet. And then finding the right place would be tough.
Yeah.
So Larry has kind of been monitoring that whole project, so
Yeah.
what do you think, Larry?
They are sampling 19 Mile Brook, just above the bridge at 109.
Right.
There's an access point that they have, and they do sample there.
On 109.
Above,
Right.
Right down by the store.
no, you know where the big parking lot is?
Yeah.
There is the pathway
Yep.
that goes up to a place where they sample. So they're sampling the outlet of 19 Mile Brook into that cove, if you will,
Yeah.
just above the
Okay.
bridge.
Right.
So
So that,
that's pretty, I think, I haven't been to that site, but that's pretty good. Because now you're just capturing
and they're
everything
good about
within that
keeping us
stream.
from twists.
So I did, after, Cammy did reach out to me and said that you had some questions, so I did reach out to FB Environmental. They have one more sampling that they're gonna do in November, and they're gonna pull the data loggers out at that particular point in time, and then download all the data off that. They figure that they're gonna have our first report to us in either January or February.
Okay.
And I did reach out to Dave Ford as well. He said all the construction
Yeah.
is finished in there, and they finished the punch list, so the construction part of it was done in October. So I think the November one is probably, and he did open up the RIVs again in October. So I think the November sampling is gonna tell us if there's any difference between pre-RIV and after RIV.
So they're fully functioning now with the RIV?
I talked to Dave Ford yesterday, and yeah, they're up to, he thought 200 to 250,000 gallons per day.
All right.
So that's about where they
Now
want
we
to be.
look for-
They've been increasing it incrementally.
Yeah.
Since they started putting it back in.
And is DES monitoring this as well?
I would presume so. I mean, I don't know.
All they've had is breakouts every time they've tried this.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
From the things that we keep looking.
I would imagine they have to do some monitoring for, as with the permit, right? So they have to make sure they're living up to what their permit is. Not just the wood burning.
Well, I think we leave the $1,500 in there, and then if, once we get the report, if we think there's more information we need to gather, then we've got some money to do it.
Yep. All right. And
Let's see what it-
so, and I guess moving on down, you've spent no money in mileage and inspections this year, and every year you always spend some, so.
If they're not turning in, probably I'm as guilty as the rest of the guys. I've done a lot of the inspections this year, and I just never remember to take my mileage
Yeah, I
and turn
never
it in.
have.
So, to me, it's like,
And that's fine, but you're getting the inspections done.
yes,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely, we're getting the inspections done. And again, I think a lot of that mileage and expense was when we went to conferences, because then it's like, you're going to Concord, or you're going to Plymouth, or you're going
Sure.
somewhere, so it's substantial mileage. But, for myself, to track mileage from my house to, Winter Harbor, or wherever the inspections are, it's just 10 miles. It's not just, I'll give it to the town. It's like, not worth the effort.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But we've all, last year when we had the budget meeting, Stephen addressed this with all the commissioners and said, you guys are entitled to mileage, so make sure you're taking it when you want it, so if nobody turns it in, is,
But even then, it's, for me, if I'm going to virtually any place in Tuftonboro, most of it could be 5 miles round trip. So
Yep.
the 50 cents a mile.
so I think that's why you're not seeing any mileage, is we're not doing the conferences and the long trips out. But hopefully, again, next year, the conferences will all be back in person.
And well water testing, I guess that's for supplies and stuff.
if it happened, yeah.
And do we anticipate that that's gonna happen? And
Well, we're doing it every year, but you know, we get so many kits from the state, and that's what we've been giving out to the people. So,
The only thing we've ever purchased in the past was paper, or we did some mailing ones, and we did some advertising ones. That's the only time we actually spent any money. I mean, that's just $100 in case who's ever running it that year.
Yep.
Needs to.
Okay.
And mileage sometimes, when we had to get out and pick up the kits ourselves. This time, we had a member who was going by, she picked them up.
Yeah, all right.
So back to the Great Meadow Trail, that $3,000 is earmarked for matching grant?
or just work out in the trail if we can't get any matching grant so that we can keep moving forward. So, you know, we are planning a couple fundraising for later next year, but, you know, we're getting a great response for that trail, so we don't want to stop. I don't know if I sent you the metrics on the people that are using that trail, Chip, but for the month of October, we had 46 groups of people go out there that encompass like 76 individual people that use that trail for the month of October.
Nice.
So the community knows it's there, and the community is using it, so it's pretty exciting, it really is.
Yep.
We don't even have the observation platform up yet.
No, well, that's,
Next year, phase 2.
yeah, yeah.
When that's in, that's gonna be a real destination.
So we just felt that we should put something in there so that it actually reflects where the money is going.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And any questions you have?
I'm very satisfied with what I've heard.
All right, I'll move the conservation budget 4612 for $18,800.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.
Chip, did you have any other questions about 19 Mile Bay?
No, I guess
Larry here.
I was just hoping that we were gonna get a report at some point in time, but I guess we're gonna do it in January.
Yeah, you know, until they do the whole season, and they, you know, Larry can explain it better, but I guess the data loggers stay in there, Larry, and they only pull them out at the end of the year and read all the data off them.
Yeah.
So,
So they won't
So I
have,
know on one of the studies that was done several years ago, they had a bad data logger, right? Is there any way that they know before they pull them?
They don't, but I would say that FB is doing a lot better job of that. First of all, Normandale was not on that kind of schedule. FB is, and they go up and I think they're more fastidious in taking care of their equipment, frankly.
and probably next year's report will be more informative, because if they just started kicking the thing into gear,
yeah.
they're not gonna have any sampling based on.
You know, actually, I think it's really good that the RIB was shut down at the beginning of the year, because it's gonna give us clean data without the RIB flowing into 19 Mile Brook. So next year, when we have the full cycle of the RIB running and collecting the data, we're probably gonna see if there's any, at least in my opinion, right, Larry, if there's any differences between when the RIB is functioning and when it's not functioning.
One of the things that I was very pleased with this contract, when we were going through the data prior to, you have different techniques, analytical techniques, and differences in standards and such. And FB is working with Woodward and Curran, which is their Wolfborough's sampler group, and we're doing split samples, which means we collect a volume of water. Each one does their own separate analysis. And we're also doing what's called duplicates. So you collect that number and you split it and you run it twice to get a sense of what the differences is, if there is any, within the different analytical techniques. And some permits require different standards and such, to get a sense of what those differences are. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
Some good work.
All right.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Stay warm.
Let's go conserve some.
No concerns.
Yeah.
Here, it's up here.
Even if it's,
Oh.
even if it's a nap.
Conserve the that, conserve the sleep. Thank you, guys.
All right.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna run into the tax collector.
Good morning.
Good morning, Diane. How are you?
Good.
You survived your first
I did.
planning
It
board
was
meeting.
very interesting. I liked it. I love that stuff.
All
I
right.
love the subdivisions and mergers. I like that stuff.
Well, and you're a detail person, and
True, yeah.
and that's
There's a lot of detail to it.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
detail.
there is, yeah. And the challenge is keeping up. It's just keeping up with the,
Yep.
because it moved pretty quickly last night.
All right. Are we?
It's being printed.
What's being printed?
Information for the tax rate.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well. So, we want to work on health agencies, or you want?
Sure. I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
It is. So, and what we have is a request for $2,000 more than in the current year.
Yeah, and I think it's all in 68 hours, 100. Their request was out by
$1,500.
$1,500.
Yep.
And Tri-County Action was up by,
Starting point's up a little bit.
Yep.
That pretty much makes up the difference in the 2,000.
Yep. It's actually $1,980, not 2,000. All right. Any questions on health agencies?
No, I'll move that we approve health agencies in the amount of $42,165.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
What is this?
All right.
Is that-
So,
Here's last year's.
that's-
This year.
Yeah, it gives you all the
I got
breakdown.
that.
Yep.
All right.
I only give you the front page on it.
It's double-sided.
Yeah, it came out, didn't it? Last year, last year, because you wanted me to put in last year, because people are gonna ask you.
Right.
That's a big change, Bob.
Two.
Yeah, I only do the front.
Chop, chop.
okay. So,
Back to back.
hmm?
These are back to back.
Double-sided.
This isn't double-sided.
No, that one's just last year's, I just made a picture of it.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you
yeah,
have it.
yeah, yeah. All right. So with no adjustment, last year, we were at 956, with the town tax rate at 3/20/22. This year, the town tax rate is 3/19, but the school tax is up quite a bit.
56 cents.
Yep, so that would take us to $10.12 with no adjustment.
My recollection is that we didn't adjust the tax rate down with money last year,
Right.
but we probably should this year. What's the rate per 100,000? Can you give me that?
I think it's 10 cents, but let's see.
Oh, my tab.
That one, yes.
Right, right.
You just,
Oh, that's a little-
next time. Yeah, the over there. There it is, over there. See, you have zero at the back.
Right, yeah, but that's,
Yeah, he wants to know if you, what 100 and
all
thousand
right, I
would
thought
do.
that's like, okay.
That's down to.
Right here, 10:04.
Yeah, that's like,
So it goes to 10:04
that doesn't seem like,
if you put 100,000 in. You don't think that's
So it's
right?
8 cents a thousand,
yeah, I think, I'm just gonna double check.
8 cents 100,000.
Dropped it down 16, 12 cents. It dropped down 12 cents.
Because it was probably
It was 10.16. Oh. I saw 10.16 on there, I swear. Okay, all right, so, all right.
So it goes
Yes.
down 6 cents. No, 6 cents, 8 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dropped it to 10.14. It didn't go down very much, did it?
No, it's dropped it. 10:04. Yeah, yeah, from 10 to 1, yeah. 8 cents.
All right, so,
So you're at 8 cents a 100,000.
That's what it
The
looks
local
like.
rate. That's correct.
You talked about the municipal rate, or?
That's
The
the
whole thing,
overall.
the overall is.
Well, it's gonna
10.4.
track the same, no matter what. So it'll be in the municipal rate as well.
Right, so it brings down your municipal 311, brings down county to 114, local to 399, and state to 180.
Yeah.
yep,
8 cents off of $3.19 is $3.11.
Mhm.
So you're at 10.04.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
do 100,000, yeah.
Right. Well, we've got $1,304,344. I'm gonna suggest we put
all right,
together.
before we go there,
Okay.
right? So when we look at the back side, the fund balance retention sheet, so 828,474 is, where did, that, is that turn of the year? Fund balance retention guidelines.
Here you are, right here. So if you go to current amount retained,
Yep,
that's what happens if you retain 5%, 8%, how much you'll have left
No, I'm talking about the one that's bold, $828,474.
Yeah,
That's as of when?
that's if you do it now.
That's a page ahead.
That's at the rate that you plug in. That's at the 10.12.
Well, so,
No, $828,000 is not at the current tax rate as opposed to.
No, the 10.12 that's on the paperwork.
yeah,
If you keep 5.37%, you
Right.
you will have 828.
right, but that 537, that's as of when? The amount retained, where did that come from?
That came from the end of December
That's-
2020.
Yeah, right, that's turn of the year,
Mhm.
right,
Right,
okay.
Okay, the
So,
five,
so
That's
the
what they go by.
one, so the 1,304,000, where did that come from?
that come off
That's
the
the real number.
MS 434 that we worked out with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What figure is he talking about? I think that's the,
He
that,
wants to know where the 1.3 came from.
that came from the MS 535.
535.
Okay, so that's,
And that's the undesignated balance as of the end of December of 2020.
all right,
That's what's been reported to DRA.
All right.
You're always a year behind.
And DRA picks that up, that figure from the MS 535.
right. So, and that's what I'm trying to get my arms around is,
How much there is as of now.
no, you never know that because it changes every day.
Right.
Okay, but, so, you got 828 on here, and then, but you got 1,000,003 on the other form.
Mhm.
Shouldn't they be the same?
They're saying if you retain.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think that's the number, if we went back and pulled out of the town report, that's the number as of the end of 2020. December 31st, or close the books on 2020. And you have to always work with the same point in time because it changes all the time.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So as you close the books on the year, this is.
And that's what I mean, for this tax rate that they're saying, I feel, you don't think that's of the 1,300,000? You don't think that's 5?
That's- What's on this worksheet doesn't apply any of the undesignated fund balance and any of the excess money over what we've committed,
Right.
right? So I'm just trying to,
That's a guideline. This is what, I feel like what this is saying to you, and I could be wrong, Bill, is out of the 1.3, if you put aside 537, this is what you have. They're giving you examples of what you have left if you retain that amount of your 1.3884.
right, which says if we apply any money to lower the tax rate, then that number goes down.
Right.
And the minimum recommended is
5%.
50,000 less than that. So if that's the number we're working with, then we can apply 50,000 to lower the tax rate without going below the minimum recommended. That's why I'm focused in here to try and understand where the difference is here from the 1,304,000.
Are you done with this?
yeah, go ahead. And the 828,000 that they're listing here is not 5% of our current obligation, or is it 5% of our 2020 obligation?
Right.
I mean, if you run that math, you don't come up with 5.37%. That is less than that.
Can you speak of the,
Well,
this is
so-
the unassigned fund balance we're debating.
Yep,
In the 2020, MS 535 lists that as the ending balance is $1,135,229.
okay.
There it is, I don't know.
But that's 2019's, right? Because that's out of last year's book.
So that's the 2020 535,
Right,
right?
ending balance.
Do you have your
So
2020?
is that,
So,
I don't know, I'm asking, new to it, but
so,
how much money do we have?
well.
We're trying to figure out, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right.
5.37% of $1,000,003 is 700,000.
Okay.
So 700,248.
You know what it is, I believe, let me just do some math. I think it has to do with the unreserved. We had 471,370 voted from fund balance at the annual town meeting. And then we had 5,000 for contingency that selectmen.
Right,
Okay, and I think that's the difference. If you take those two amounts and subtract it from 1,304,844, you'll get to 800.
28,000.
Yeah,
so we've already taken,
yeah.
Okay, so the
Extra.
$476,000 has not been taken out of this.
right,
Okay.
right, that's money that we've, yes, right,
Yeah.
that's money that we've said we're already taken out of it. So
Right.
we don't have that money available.
Okay.
So we really have 828,000, is it?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
all right. So that kind of clears up the mystery.
I don't think taking 50,000
See,
makes any sense at all.
Voted.
No.
It was in the warrant. They voted to take it from fund
And
balance.
that's where they're getting this.
800.
What do you think?
800, yeah.
If we take 50,000, that's 4 cents.
2 cents.
2
4
cents. 4 cents.
You're right.
So, well, again, this year, it's all in the school.
Yeah.
They went up huge, right? Now, they'd gone down last year because of the way they do things. But last year, local education was 343, this year it's 399. So I'm comfortable taking 50,000 and putting it against it, but I don't think we can go beyond that.
Right.
And stay within their guidelines.
Okay.
So,
Well,
as you say,
less than-
it's not much, but it's, we can do that.
You can,
And,
we can take it all.
The municipal
Well,
debt,
there's not a law there, it's a recommendation, however, we're not going to.
right, but the problem with taking it all is then you got no wiggle room.
Nothing at all.
Come on.
And,
How are you?
the municipal tax rate for 2020 was 319,
Yeah.
and
no, it's
No, it was
322,
322.
and it's 319 this year,
That's what
right,
it is.
yep.
so
We are lower. aren't
we are
We are
lower.
lower.
So we're
right.
not the culprit.
No, that's right. That's right. We're not.
Blame game.
So,
All right, so
so all we're doing, if we take that 50,000, is we're doing what we can to help people out a little bit.
make it happen.
Yep. So I can go either way. Again, it's not a huge impact, but
Any help?
So you want to make a motion?
I'll move that we apply $50,000 from the fund balance to lower the tax rate.
I'll second that.
And that should bring the tax rate down to $10
8
8
cents.
cents.
That's what I have.
Yeah. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, ladies. Thanks for helping me understand.
Well,
What the
yeah, I
numbers
mean, I
are.
had to
didn't
take
know
me
where
a
that
little
number came from
bit.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I do now. Good.
Yep.
Yep.
So this is- Can you see? And then down here, I only put a buck in so to make it, yeah, because it wouldn't print out without me putting a buck in. And once you guys make the decision, then you can change it again. Okay?
By the way,
Same thing.
I ran that the other day. That was before the one we did today. So what that shows is 2/3 of the budget money we've already dealt with. And we're up 4.7% in those areas.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
total.
figure like 14.
Right.
We got
I don't know if that's,
4.6%.
he has he done?
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So we're not,
Oh, so
And,
is
and
that-
one of the budgets that we did today went down.
Yeah.
So,
Chris is going up.
yeah, he is, but you know, it is what it is.
Was that cloud? So I need to move that.
Mr. Rule, are you ready?
There's the only choice that's on the first time.
Oh,
But we paid some of the other one, that.
so 14's okay?
Should be.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm trying to give you room.
All right.
She's not done with me. I'm gonna sit here for me.
You want to walk us through it?
Probably want me to begin with like that.
You added new equipment up there at the beginning.
That is just the carryover from last.
So, yeah, that's a line we've carried in the past and has varied from $833 to $6,452 over the last 5 years. So how much do you expect you're going to spend on new equipment this year?
But we're hoping that we'll,
If you look on the back, he has the options and how much money and all that, and his backup paperwork.
I have a,
Did I give it to you?
Yeah. Yep.
I typed something up for
All right,
him.
so we're not to the mixed paper recycling yet. We're just at the top line, first line, new equipment. And I don't know what, as I say, it's varied widely over the last 5 years.
Right.
So, do you have
this
some?
year I bought some pressure washer. I need, there's a whole bunch of little things that I want to get, like a impact wrench and little things like that. I'm up to, $100 here, $20 there, a little compressor I'd like to get.
So you haven't
It adds up to
spent anything yet? Or we haven't-
Couple $100 here and there, but no big bucks.
Nothing. There's nothing applied to that line yet this
No,
year.
no.
So you anticipate you're gonna spend that out? So let's do it this month. Don't wait till the end of December, please.
I have a snowboard that I need to buy in, small snowboard, yeah.
All right, whatever it is, I'll tell you the same thing I tell everybody, which is don't wait until late December to order the stuff.
Okay.
Get it on order now, let's get it processed. It makes it more difficult for the accounting and tying all this up and getting stuff paid out when we order it on the 31st of December and then it, the bill doesn't come in till February and it's a hassle. So please go ahead and get that stuff ordered. All right, let's talk about mixed paper. So we have an attendant at a $37,000. And this is, it's another full-time person, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your analysis, the baled mixed paper currently is bringing $80 to $90 a ton in revenue.
Bill, correct, $80 to $90 a ton.
Right.
And all the information from NRA, which I included.
I'll give you a copy of it in your packet.
So, but in order to bail it, we would need a piece of equipment beyond what we have now.
That's unfortunate, we don't have an available baler. So,
So help me out
so
with our balers. We have two.
we have 3 balers right now, 2 of them are utilized for cardboard, which are full-time for cardboard right now, because we have such an influx of cardboard. One of them's utilized for aluminum cans, and because the cans are so dirty, strictly utilized for cans. So if we had a 4th baler, we could utilize that for paper, because the papers, we have such a quantity of paper. We'd get more money for paper if we baled it, about $20 more a ton, but the upfront cost would be more.
But the only other upfront cost is the baler,
Well, correct.
because you're gonna have to have the people, whichever way you go.
Whichever way we go, we need the people.
Okay.
The upfront cost would be the baler, and it would be convenient, more convenient to have one more storage trailer, because the end storage eventually will become an issue, because we're gonna have more bales that we need to store.
Well, how many tons are we talking?
We're talking 65, in the end, we're talking 65, about probably pulling out 65 tons of paper from the NSW. I mean, we're not gonna have 65 tons on site at any one time, because we're gonna be shipping, occasionally, we're gonna be shipping cardboard and paper off-site,
Right.
All
but
right, so
it's gonna be fluid.
so that 65 tons represents about $6,000 in savings
Correct.
out of the municipal solid waste stream,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
That's over and above what we sell the paper for,
Right.
right?
But we're not gonna get $6,000 for the paper,
We're gonna get $5,850,
right?
pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yep.
And we're getting about 4,000 for the cardboard. So we're getting, we're getting just about breaking even between the cardboard and the paper. And we're getting about 3,000 for the aluminum when we send it out.
All right, I know I'm jumping around and I apologize for this.
No, that's fine.
So, but new baler, 35,000, is that
Approximately,
that
that's-
installed?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a place to put a baler?
That's, we could squeeze one in.
So,
It's
We need more storage.
tricky, yeah.
right, so I mean, it's important if we go that direction, that it not become a, oh yeah, well, now we gotta move it. If the installation is fairly straightforward in terms of this is a spot that I'm using for something else, but this is where the baler would go, and we can fit that extra pound in the bag, that's good. If we need additional space as well, then we need to identify that too. And not get a baler here and say, okay, well now, right, now this that we're doing in the recycling building, we don't have room to do anymore.
Well, my preference would be, if I could find one, I would get an outdoor baler, a weatherproof baler
Yeah.
for the cans and put them outdoors.
Mhm.
And have our indoor baler sterilized and
Mhm.
use that for the paper.
Okay.
And is the,
And is there 35,000 for a horizontal or vertical?
Vertical,
Okay, because doesn't a horizontal give you,
bigger bill.
yeah,
Yeah.
so does that,
That-
and it gives you denser bale, correct?
Yeah.
So,
And it would be
If-
easier for us to load off the dock.
right, so if we're looking at buying a new baler, does it make sense to buy a horizontal baler?
Probably, but I think that would be more money.
So that's a question we need to, again, more money up front, but benefits associated with it, right?
And probably a better investment.
Yeah, okay, so that's
And
a,
are these fungible, these balers? I mean, you do cardboard or paper?
Yes.
Okay, so.
and
'cause you-
the issue today with using, you got one baler you're doing cardboard, the other one you're doing cans. The issue with that baler and changing over is it's dirty. So it has to be, you'd have to pressure wash it, whatever, every time you changed over in order to keep the
But
residue.
if you do an outside can baler, now does that free up the baler that's inside? Or are you talking about buying two balers?
You know, if we did outside can baler, we could free up the inside can baler and use that for paper.
Right.
Alright. So you got a 6-year payback on your baler.
Yep.
You still gotta pay an additional 40 grand a year in help. Does that mitigate anything else? You're adding a person at that point, right? Not that that person's just a paper person, but you need one more person to do the thing.
I mean, I'm guessing by adding a person, you're not, you, you need the person because you need somebody to monitor and run the paper, right?
No person in the paper is going to increase the duty of, I mean, we're gonna, in order to keep that paper sterile,
Yeah,
we're gonna need somebody to pay attention because.
yes, people bring it in.
Right,
Right.
because,
So he's quality control,
right.
right?
In order-
But you're gonna add a person to the mix, and he's gonna be one of several full-time people, so this is not gonna be somebody that's, all he does is paper.
No.
But they'll move between stations, but somebody will always be on the paper station with people.
Somebody will always be at the, between cardboard and paper.
Yeah,
So, option 2, you're showing purchasing 2 covered 30-yard containers.
Right.
How do we get those back? Or do they unload them and load them into whatever they're doing?
Yeah, that basically negates our income stream.
Right.
That is, we're paying waste management to haul our paper away and dump it.
Right. Okay, so,
We're buying 2 covered barn containers. People coming in and dumping their paper in it, and when they fill up, we pay waste management to haul it away.
no, I know, but let's say we bale it, and we keep it sterile, we do all that.
Yeah.
What do we do with the bales?
We call NRA, they send us a truck, we load the truck and they haul it away
Okay.
to
But,
the
so-
mill, and they pay us for
right,
bales.
so do you have storage space for a truck's worth of bales?
That's where that container comes in.
So we're talking a container for storage
Yeah,
plus a baler,
correct.
okay? So, what's in the back shed right now?
8,000, yeah.
The back shed,
Well, that's what we can put in that back shed, that's what I think.
right, so can you put a trailer's worth in the back shed?
That's,
You mean between the dumpster things there,
Right,
with glass
right.
and the building?
oh, our back,
The
this
back,
way?
no,
No, that whole,
the area that was used as, formerly used as a parking area by attendants.
no, that whole about,
Proposed drive-through recycling
Yeah,
by the
right.
original.
Yeah, right.
that whole is about 10 bales
Okay,
up top of holes. But that'll hold about probably maybe 15, maybe, yeah, that might hold 15 bales. So we're still short about
so how many bales in a load?
44 bales, 48 bales, about 46 bales. 48 if we really stuff it. So we're still short
All right,
15 bales.
so we need a baler and we need a container. In order
It's got
to,
$50,000 worth of.
Yeah, we fill up 3 containers, well, we fill up 2 containers per truckload.
You know, once you get it all delivered and installed, you got $50,000 invested in paper.
Yeah,
So, now you got a 8-year payback.
so,
That's what you're looking at. That's assuming paper prices don't do anything different than they have.
Right.
now.
right.
right,
We don't know how many people will actually recycle the paper either.
Well, I hope enough to satisfy $50,000 worth of capital investment.
I'd like to think so, but, you know, a small group of voters approved this. Again,
so
who knows?
here's my thought. The equipment goes on an article on the warrant.
Right,
If it gets voted down, we don't do it.
right.
And labor obviously is an ongoing cost, goes into the operating budget.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I think we.
I know there was some discussion at town meeting about when we talked about it's gonna require somebody, and somebody said, well, yeah, the budget committee will have something to say about that, and they may, but one of the things we learned with respect to mixed paper is that the old mixed paper where you just throw everything in and nobody cares and China takes it all, that's history. And in order for the paper to have any value, it has to be clean, and it has to be the right grades of paper. It's not just anything that, and so that requires training and monitoring. And I know there are motivated people that say, well, everybody that wants to recycle is they're gonna take care, but that's, some people are. Some people will be very religious about, this is how I'm gonna do it. Other people, it's like, I got paper, we'll get it there. So somebody's gotta be the gatekeeper to make sure it's, maintains the value, because it doesn't take much of a spoil to take the value to zero.
Right.
And then we're putting additional cost into it and we're getting nothing back. So, all right, well, let's see if we can move on and get through this.
So
this
does your current budget that you're proposing here include that extra person?
Yes.
Okay. I think we need to, are you going line by line here, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, yeah.
I think $4,000 needs to be adjusted on the new equipment.
You think 4,000 needs to be adjusted?
I do, it should be closer to 2. I'm looking at what we've spent. We've got 800, 976, 6,500, 2,860, and 1,898. I mean, I don't know what we got in 2018, but people with some snow scoops.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
all right. So, while I appreciate that you're gonna spend what you can out of that 4,000 this year, if we can economize a little bit going forward,
Yeah.
so that certainly makes sense. A little bit there, okay. So your other,
And you think there's gonna be a $20,000 or $18,000 increase in MSW this year coming up?
well, keep in mind that 102 that he spent,
Right.
that's to date, right? And what did we spend last year? 130.
111.
So we spent 130 in 2020, but that included some C&D, right? During the period when everything was going in together. So if you look at the two last year, we spent spent $207,000 between the two. And for 2022,
200.
you're looking for 236.5.
And you're on track currently, if you're gonna combine C&D and MSW,
Yeah,
in the same thing, you're on track for 217 next year,
I'm
not 236.
on track for C&D for
and we have a contractual increase,
2%.
3%. So that brings it pretty close to what he's got in here.
94. So there's a 3% increase on everything?
Yes. For what's that?
Yeah,
296.
2% straight across the board.
it's 223.
$122 times 0.3. 6. 125. So if nothing changes, and it has to, I would project 2021-2 as being $100,000 in C&D and $125,000 MSW. So this $11,000 isn't going to make a lot of difference to this budget, but. And we haven't factored in any
paper reduction.
paper
Yeah,
reduction.
right. So, all right, so what's your preference?
My preference would be to go to 125 on MSW and 105 on C&D. So that's 1,000. 6,000. 7, 8.
Everything we do is a projection. Whatever the cost is gonna be, it's gonna be. But
Right.
as we put together a budget that includes an additional person, 1,000 here and 1,000 there can help us out. You understand what we're doing?
Yep.
We're trying to economize a little bit here and there.
On your glass disposal, Chris,
Yes.
you got 2372 that you spent so far at $4,500.
Correct.
I can only do it by the month. What is your expectation for the rest of the year?
It's fine. They charge me X amount of dollars, and I'm gonna pay the same transport fee for the next couple months, and I only know what the tonnage is gonna be when they tell me. So I don't know how many tons it's gonna be until they tell me. So I could only guess.
In glass disposal,
So I'm only gonna do one more.
we've averaged about $2,000.
Yeah, it's usually about 15 and a half tons. So, so I'd say it's probably gonna be,
We've never broken 3,000. He's lowered it already down to 4,000.
He's dropped it $500.
Mhm.
I'm gonna suggest we take that back down to 3,000,
Yeah.
glass disposal.
And I guess
So electronics, though, this year's budget is,
we're way low.
well, so far, but
Yeah.
that's just based upon, I know, it depends upon how much gets shipped out, right?
right,
So you anticipate doing another
right,
electronics?
one more.
So how many we had so far?
We shipped out 3. I'm gonna ship out one more.
Okay, so that's about
A
$1,000.
little over 1,000, yeah.
All right. So last year we spent $63.75. The year before we spent $5,100, then $5,100, then $53.75. So are we moving less electronics, or is the cost of moving electronics going down?
I think it's going down to 1,200 per shipment, 1,200, something like that.
Okay.
So it's going down. Actually, the rental for the container went up
Okay.
to 900
Right.
or 750. But
All right. So what if we put 4,000 in for electronics? Is that gonna kill us?
I don't think so. Have to make it work.
Yeah.
So 45,690. $501,649.
All right, so I'm gonna jump around a little bit.
Okay.
Mixed paper attendant, you have them in there for the full year. But the most we're gonna have is 9 months, right?
Right from March to,
Right? I mean, we're not gonna bring a new person on until after town meeting,
right,
right? So,
you can subtract.
yeah,
That's not most.
so,
So it'd be 27,759.
27,759 is what I come up with.
Yeah.
It's a healthy savings.
Well, it's a
It's
reality,
realistic, yeah, it's a good thing.
you know? It's, again, I'm jumping around. Closure monitoring,
Yeah.
we spent 9,000, have we got another invoice to come?
Yeah.
Okay,
And we came up with that, that's fixed.
all right.
Brush and stump grinding.
That's way down.
We can,
You brought that down to half of what it was.
yeah, we can adjust that because I'm allowed to hold that, I'm allowed to hold that inventory for up to a year
Yeah,
before I have to do anything with it. And I've been doing that.
right.
And the forest lands guy told me that wait for good snowstorm, good hard driving rain, and it's safe for matching that pile. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
so,
No problem.
no, we were,
Make sure,
we,
make sure Adam's on board with this.
we've been able to,
Take care of business.
take care of the roads.
All right.
Excellent.
So, all right, I'm gonna jump around again.
Yeah.
Tires free on metal. I'm going back and looking at, what the hell is it? So last 5 years, 1,500, 1,600, 1,100, 2,200, 1,450. And this year we have 3,000, we've spent 1,700. So unless it's hugely up, I'm gonna say that 2,000 ought to cover it.
Ooh. I don't know. People's gonna start putting on snow tires and they may be getting rid of the tires they take off.
Yeah, they pay-
So, but they do that every year. I'm just looking at the history and saying, unless disposal has gone up significantly or volume has gone up significantly, 2,000 is more than we've spent in any year except 2019.
Right.
So that's why I'm suggesting we just take 1,000 out there.
Okay, so 2,000 on that.
Yep.
Yep.
So are you keeping track of the numbers?
I'm sure trying.
Well, as we drop.
Cami, are you keeping track of the numbers?
I think so.
All right.
Down to-
So here's the adjustments that I have so far. New equipment, we're going to 2,000. New attendant, we're going to 27,759. C&D, we're going to 105. Municipal solid waste, we're going to 125. Tires free on metal, we're going to 2,000. Glass disposal, we're going to 3,000. Electronic disposal, we're going to 4,000.
And I think that puts us at 489, 831.
489,
831.
31. Okay. So, any further squeezing we're gonna do on this guy? Beating him up pretty bad today.
No, I think that's, I mean, now we're at 7.5% increase what we got in the 40.
Yep.
So, that's about-
All right, I'll entertain a motion then.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve solid waste, provisionally approve solid waste disposal 4324 in the amount estimated at $489,831 to be adjusted if needed by our secretary.
Okay.
I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for playing.
Okay.
And
You got
so
those?
get a cost on a horizontal baler, one that we could put outside. That'll be part of the capital cost. And the other piece will be a storage container, correct?
Yeah, and storage containers ought to be less money than $8,000.
Those, I got that from, cost from Pleasant Tower for tools and used ones.
All right, so
And
we
new
bought
ones.
one last year for Dennis. We bought one for Dennis and it was less than that. I don't remember what it was,
Okay.
through NRRA.
Okay.
So
I'll check.
check that out.
You
Yeah.
got those quotes I gave you from,
Yep.
We'll work on the warrant article part.
yeah, it's just.
And then on the, yeah, and when we're talking about that, we'll by that time have our gross budget, so we'll be able to see whether or not we can start putting together a capital reserve.
Yeah,
a little bit.
it's important to get those cheap so you can have them. Perfect.
Do we want to make a decision on the request for the change of the days off? It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do.
So the boys would like to have the day after Christmas off instead of the day after Thanksgiving.
They wanted to give up their,
What they had to do.
they wanted to give up their holiday pay for the day after Thanksgiving,
Yes.
for the day after Christmas off, which is a Sunday.
Which would mean that the transfer station would be closed for the whole weekend.
Right. They would close on Sunday. We could start posting that now, so the public would have plenty of time to prepare for it.
You're gonna have a really busy first of
Tuesday.
the year,
Yeah, but
because
they said that public always says, why are you guys open today? And it's a slow day, usually anyways.
Sunday the 2nd is gonna be wicked busy, because you're gonna have all the Christmas stuff.
Oh, well.
That's what they said, it's usually a slow day.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I-
had no information to,
I'm fine with doing that adjustment, giving the guys the 26th off, recover from Christmas.
We don't celebrate Christmas. Works for me.
And they would not work on the day after Thanksgiving anyway. Isn't that
Right.
Friday?
Or Thanksgiving. This year. Any year, actually, but they don't work, yes.
So I think the point is that's a paid holiday, day after
right,
Thanksgiving.
the day after Thanksgiving is a
So,
paid
so
holiday.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna move their paid holiday to the day after Christmas. And so normally, day after Thanksgiving is not a work day for them, but we pay them holiday pay.
Right.
So we're just, he's proposing moving the holiday to the day after Christmas and paying the holiday that day.
Okay.
And I'm fine with that. So,
We need a motion.
yes,
I make a motion that we move the transfer station employees' paid holiday from the day after Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving, I should say, to the day after Christmas.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye. Go get them, big fella.
So, which does bring up the issue that we need to start working on next year's holiday schedule. I mean, we don't have to get it out there now, but sometime this month it would be good for us at least to go through it.
This one? Next one.
Well, I'm saying
Thank you,
sometime,
John.
You're not gonna be here by
Appreciate that.
December with this one.
Have a great day.
yeah, well, I know, but, all right. So, let's see what else we can get to today.
Insurance ought to be an easy one.
So, yeah,
Then we can go non-public.
and then we'll need to go non-public, yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
I thought we did insurance already.
It's revisited,
Why are we revisiting it?
because you didn't approve it.
We didn't approve it?
No,
Yeah, I thought we did, because I thought I took it to the budget committee. Because I remember the question of property and casualty being up, and it's because we added a library.
Yeah.
Or the workers' comp change. You got that back.
All right. So the number I have is approved, and it is more than what we have on this worksheet.
47, 249. It's not nearly enough money.
What's that?
Oh, I see, it didn't have a workers' comp on it.
Yeah, you guys need to put in the workers' comp figures.
29,488, right? 29,488.
See it blank.
All right, I move that we approve 4196 for a total of 76,737.
I'll
A second.
Fine.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right. So. What else we got?
Docks and other highways?
Other highways and streets. So, and I think we ought to put some money in there, but it would be helpful to talk with Jack a little bit about that before we do that. I mean, we can throw 5,000 at it as we did this year, but I know we have some advanced work maybe for Melvin Wharf. So, if you want to do it, we'll do it. Otherwise, I'm happy to have a conversation with Jack and make sure we include any little things that he might want in there.
Okay.
Let it ride?
Yep.
All right, so did that. So we got a bunch of them out today. All right.
Yeah.
But we do need to go into non-public and go back and deal with planning and zoning.
Yep.
All right?
So we're doing other highways and streets again?
Some other guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is Jack gonna be here on Monday?
I don't think so, but I will check the calendar.
All right, so if he's in on Monday, we'll work on it then. Are we gonna have any other budgets for Monday?
Hopefully we'll have government buildings at some point in their lives.
Yeah, well, then that's part of a discussion we need to have with Jack as well.
Right.
So, do you know if we have any other ones to do on Monday?
You could have.
Yeah, we would like to,
Okay.
so,
Then yes.
We like to stay busy.
well, again, we're gonna run into some things that we wanna get them all done before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
If we haven't looked at them yet before that last meeting, that's not a good thing.
No, and CIP is gonna present on the 14th of December, so that's
Okay?
something to keep in mind as well.
Yep. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public for personnel.
I make a motion to go into non-public for personnel.
I'll second.
Marcus, and yes?
I'll be yes.
Pike, yes.